Hey, this is Nate again with Nonessential Media. Thanks for joining us for another episode of We the Fandom. Just a reminder advisory, this show's topics are safe for most ages, but the show is unscripted, so we wanted to issue another general warning just in case you are listening with small children or professional setting. Enjoy this episode. And you keep that blaster in the air right where I can see it. On this week's episode, we're talking space westerns. Welcome back, everybody. This is Nate. With me, as always, is
Cheyenne.
And we're talking about just staying in the air one more day. We're not out here riding horses. We're riding our spaceships. I love me some space westerns. I love that it's becoming a genre rather than just an exception.
Right.
I am a hardcore Firefly Serenity fan.
Oh gosh, yes. Hell yeah.
Brown coats for life. It's a requirement that I watch Firefly at least once a year.
Same here. Yes, I usually do that. I've
got, Lord knows, too much Firefly themed crap. I've got Wash.
I saw that,
there.
Yes.
I've got the script for the pilot and the film Serenity on my bookshelf. I even have, I wonder if I can still find it, I have a book of, like, it's like a dictionary tome for the various, like, catchphrases and, like, the different languages and stuff like that that come up in the show, and so you can follow along by episode and be like, what did that mean? And you can flip it open and it's the translation for, like, you dung-eating, like, lizard, like, or something. I just pulled that one out of nowhere. But I absolutely love Firefly and Serenity. Mourn that we couldn't have more.
Yes.
Celebrate what we do have. But it seems like in recent years, it's been growing, and we've been getting more. Especially with the release of The Mandalorian.
Right, yes.
Which is set in the Star Wars universe. But I would qualify pretty hardcore space western.
Definitely. I mean, you've got your bounty hunter, and you got a bunch of desert planets, and working for hire, things like that.
You've got the quick draw, blaster, and there's something about The Mandalorian that has that Clint Eastwood vibe to him.
Like, you're just expecting, like, a hat on top of his helmet, and then, like, super glued is, like, a cigar sticking.
Yeah, duct taped around the helmet. Yeah, I can almost see, like, them trying to do, like, the zoom in on the squint eyes, but it's just the helmet.
That, yes.
I gotta give Pedro Pascal credit. He did so much acting through just his head movements in the helmet. There's so much that I'm impressed with that, like, if you put a bucket on my head, I couldn't do half of what he's doing.
No, it's definitely a credit to his skills. Yes, is all his ability to convey all of that he did with everything. And all he's limited to is body language.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And I think if you stripped away everything Star Wars, the story you have left over would be quintessentially a Western.
It would be. Yeah. Definitely. Because, I mean, got a bunch of space gunfights. There's bunches of gunfights. Learning to ride random creatures that are horse-like.
It's a man on the edge of,
society
living in this lawless waste, who sort of has to follow his own creed, his own code, in order to find his way. And he finds himself in the middle of a situation that he doesn't have to get involved with, but because he chooses to do the right thing, costs him a great deal. But at least he, in the end, walks away with. He's done the right thing. He's a good man.
Yes.
Yeah, Western.
All things considered.
I would argue he's a good man. I like this is my second show this season, which is about someone being forced by destiny or by other means to become like a dad when he didn't want to.
Yeah.
And I'm stoked for that weird cliche. It's fantastic. But anyway, do you have anything else off the top of your head you think of when you think of space western? I've got two others. One still in the Star Wars universe and a different one.
So I feel like, I mean, it's mostly science fiction and things like that. But The Expanse is sort of a space western vibe going to it.
You mentioned The Expanse before.
I have. I really enjoyed the series. That was the other one that I watched. The third series that I watched in 2 days. The Expanse.
We don't at all have problems binging. I don't know what you're referring to.
Yeah, so The Expanse, I mean, I feel like that in some ways is a space western. You've got people being pulled into things that they don't quite understand when they're getting pulled into it. A bunch of like shady, not really right things going on. Yeah. It's battles. It's happening in space.
One of the things I like about this new genre, if we want to call it that, of space western is that the amount of western you want in there can be anything from just like story beats sprinkling to like full on Firefly, like that's clearly a western prop. Like how many times have they done something in the show where I'm like, that's just straight out of a western.
Yeah, and with The Expanse, it's more like, you know, they're in the belt, you know, the asteroid belt. Yeah, so
which is the frontier.
Yeah, and especially in this sense, it's, you know, definitely the last frontier of it. There's a lot of like, there's law, and I'm using quotation marks since you can't see me. You can't see it, but she's quoting pretty hard over here. But it's not, you know, like it would be if they were back, to quote the universe in the inners, you know, on Mars or the moon or Earth in this universe, you know, the inner planets where things are taken a lot more seriously. And
or the goddamn Alliance Unification Day. Just watched the Train Job episode the other day.
Yeah, it's a lot less. There's less of it, but like it's the general vibe where it's that kind of, there's a law, there's people out there trying to keep the peace, but for the most part, it's just fend for yourself. Yeah.
A couple other ones. The other one set in the Star Wars universe was the Solo film. I think it's a little less sprinklings of Western than The Mandalorian, but there's definitely some elements of it there.
Right.
The other one I was thinking of was the animated show Cowboy Bebop.
Yep.
That show's really good about having a huge blend in all kinds of genres, but the fact that they're able to so seamlessly blend hard sci-fi and westerns with romance, with jazz, with noir, with all of this into its own thing is a testament to fantastic writing and direction.
Oh, yes, definitely.
But how well these different genres can mix together.
Mm-hmm.
And I think going beyond space western, if you just want to look at sci-fi westerns, you could look at things like the Fallout series and stuff like that, where the Expanse or like the frontier is the ruins of civilization instead of just beyond it.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's people sort of pulling themselves up by their bootstraps and either doing the right or the wrong thing.
Right. Another one I just remembered, Defiance.
Oh, I remember that show.
Yeah. Definitely along the lines of a space western, what with everything that's...
Yeah.
I mean, well, sci-fi western, since it's taking place on a partially re-terraformed Earth. So, yeah. And definitely along the lines of a sci-fi western. Lots of lawlessness, and he's literally made into the town's lawkeeper is literally his title. So it doesn't get much more western than literally being called a lawkeeper.
Yeah, I can think of Farscape has some elements of western in it as far as being on the run,
right.
trying to make your own kind of thing. I think one of the things I really like about the genre of Western in particular is that the story, it might be, Westerns themselves might be a little too cliche at this point, which is sort of why they've fallen out of popularity.
Right.
But the stories that can come from Westerns are still very much iconic, still very much can be told. It's just through space or sci-fi or other things that you can tell them. My mind jumps to Logan from a few years ago, which is a X-Men movie, but it's also very much a Western.
Right.
To the point where they are watching a Western in the movie, and it parallels the movie that you are watching. I think the movie they're watching is Shane, if I'm not mistaken, which is a straight-up Western about a lonely gunfighter who comes into this town of people who are defenseless that needs help from a bunch of, I think it's like bandit raiders and that kind of thing, and helps them defend against this town, but in the end finds that he himself, because he's a killer, can't be part of it. Right. And is isolated from it. And while it's not a space Western, so we don't need to go into a big detail, the fact that you can take stories that are quintessentially like, this is a Western story, but still fit so well in a different genre, to me is a testament of just good quality storytelling.
Right. Yeah, I hear you on that one.
So, but anyway, unless you have another example or anything else that you like about space Westerns or any other kind of sci-fi or any other Western you wanted to bring up.
Not that I can think of at the moment. I'm trying to, but...
So, whether it be Mandalorian Season 2 or just other space Westerns in general, what do we want to see from these kind of stories? Seeing as they're, at least with The Mandalorian, pretty popular.
The question is, though, is it popular because of the storyline, or is it popular because of Baby Yoda?
I'm going to argue with you. As cute as Baby Yoda is, he would not have taken off if it wasn't standing on a good show.
Oh, I know. I just have to poke fun because it's...
tease. You gotta do what you gotta do.
Because come on now, Baby Yoda. The child.
The child.
The child is so cute.
A child.
Yeah.
I like in recent news that it's been revealed that the producers and the writers have a name for the child, but they're not telling you on purpose. And I'm just like, you just like you guys. You just no. Well, put that little bait out there and then just take it away.
I remember seeing something before the final episode came out that they were saying that like it would explain the origins of the child, and I'm like sitting here now and I'm like, no, it didn't. Mm-mm. We still don't know where the child came from, guys.
No, they're going to tease us with that as far as Season 2. And I think they're going to tease us more with more about the Mandalorian's backstory.
Right,
now that we know his name, we've seen his face, it's going to tease us more about how he got to where he is.
Right.
I was talking to somebody the other day about the theory that the droids from his childhood flashback aren't the ones who killed his parents, but the Mandalorians who showed up, which are part of, I think it's like Death Watch or something like that. That's that Mandalorian symbol that he carries, are the ones who are responsible for his parents dying.
I mean, that would definitely be possible.
Based off the Clone Wars, they're a pretty hardcore group. And so for them to turn around and be like, we're the heroes! Pew pew, pew pew! Would be a really great... And what's more iconic than the Western of the hero realizing that having to turn against everything that he's known for to do the right thing.
Right, yeah, because they were actually the ones that put him in that situation to be... His
commitment to the code they taught him would require him to turn against the very people who raised him kind of
right,
deal.
yeah.
Although I figure they'll probably, if that's true, they'll go middle of the road and be like, well, some Mandalorians are bad, some of them are good. And,
right.
Versus just being like, oh, they're all bad.
Speaking, though, of the droids that...
Yes. Oh, gosh, yeah.
You mean the Cylons? Because that's what they looked like. To me, at least. They looked like the Cylons from Battlestar Galactica.
It's like they're straight up the super battle droid from Attack of the Clones.
Well, yeah, but I just... And all those shots, all I could see was the Cylons from Battlestar Galactica. I could definitely see that. It was, to me, watching that show was so... We're taking a tangent here now. But it was so weird to see the droid designs that I haven't seen since episode 2 and 3. Right.
Hadn't even thought about. And all of a sudden, like, having to put it together and be like, oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You hadn't thought about those things in like almost 2 decades. I
guess it would make sense that someone who's alive after Return of the Jedi was probably born in the Clone War. Yeah, that tracks. Like, huh?
Like the little pop-up ones from the.
Oh yeah, from the Phantom Menace.
Yeah,
where they're on Tatooine.
Yeah, and they just like you hit them and they just like pop up or pop down.
Yeah. Can't remember if it was the Mandalorian or somewhere else. I think it was the Mandalorian where they had pulled out a Gonk droid, the little wheelie one. Gonk. And I saw that. I had to pause the show and just laugh. I was laughing so hard. I'm like, the Gonk droid. And to continue the tangent, I remember squeeing like a little girl when they had one of the nothing against little girls. I'm a little girl at heart. When one of the Jawas did the classic "Houdini!"
Oh my gosh!
Like,
yes!
Oh my god! That's the line. He said the line. He did it.
And then they're all Houdini!
Yeah.
Houdini!
Yes. Little child inside of me who watched Star Wars on repeat thousands of times during his childhood is just like, yeah. They showed the Sand Raiders in that same episode where they're on not the same one as the Jawas, but on the episode where they're on Tatooine.
Yes.
And I really wanted one of them to do the
I know.
But I was like, okay, that'd probably be too on the nose. We should get back on track. What do we want to see more from space westerns? I think particularly with the show, I want them to continue to walk the line between embracing the weird of space and science fiction.
Yeah.
But then follow the storylines of like tried and true Western stories. Because I feel like those stories transcend time or genre.
Right.
Because the same stories we were telling in a Western, we were telling years before in Shakespeare or on stage instead. And to find the balance between honest storytelling and just embracing just the weird of be it Star Wars or any other universe.
Right. Yeah, and I think that's why we like them is because there's so many more opportunities for weird and unexpected.
Yeah.
What with, all the options that space provides because it's space.
Is it space? It's the final frontier, Miss Kirk.
It is the final frontier. And even though it's the final frontier, it's one that we're never really going to fully explore because there's always something new that you can do with it since there's just so much unknown.
Yeah.
And
it's the ultimate frontier because we'll never, no matter how many lifetimes, we'll never have taken over at all.
Exactly,
it's that line from Firefly song where you can't take the sky from me because there's just more of it.
Right, exactly. There's so many options and paths that you can take. And so it definitely leaves it all open for anything to happen, really.
So we normally end our show with a pitch. But I thought since we just finished season 1, we could do our pitch instead for season 2 of The Mandalorian for fun.
Okay.
So what things would you want to see in this coming season? Be it 2021 or whatever it's going to be. We've got some time to sit here and think about it.
I would definitely like to see more of Cara Dune.
Yes.
Because she is great.
Yeah, really liked her character. All of the support characters.
Yeah.
Really interesting. I really love the theme of them bringing famous people in to do bits and voice acting. We got Taika as the IG unit. We got, I can't remember his name, but the gentleman most famous from the IT Club played a robot.
Yes.
We got Bill Burr as one of the mercenaries from the episode where they have to do the jailbreak.
Oh, okay, yeah.
What's his name? My hero. Oh my god, brain. Clancy Brown played the big thug in that episode as well. I love me some Clancy Brown. Mr. Krabs, the Kurgan, anything he's in, I'm 100% there for. Now I really want to see Clancy Brown reading the script for Highlander, but in the voice of Mr. Krabs from SpongeBob.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, it would be so good though. I can't. If I could do a Mr. Krabs impression, I would try right now, but I can't.
To put this in context, the face I'm giving Nate right now does not agree with it at all.
Oh, it would be so good.
Oh no, that is no. That
So
is just
tempted
no.
to try, but I know it won't work.
Oh, please don't.
Oh.
No.
Yeah, if I could predict or if I could hope for anything in this coming season would be not to rush too quickly to explain the origins of Baby Yoda.
Right.
I want to see development from both characters.
Maybe bits and like teases like they have been with.
Yeah, continue that theme going forward. And I know it was only like an 8-episode run.
Yes.
But I'm a person who doesn't hate filler. Like, there's some complaints about some of the other episodes they go on. I'm like, I'm okay with it. Because it lets us get some interesting situations. I'd rather, instead of them rushing a story and then we only get 16, maybe 32 episodes in total, I'm okay if we do some departures and be like, yeah, the Mandalorian needed to make some food, so he took a job doing this thing, right, and we get some more interesting characters, and then those can tie back.
And yeah, exactly. We can meet more characters, but it also gives a chance to kind of develop the characters we know a little more in situations that aren't all life and death. And I mean, yes, some filler episodes are exactly that.
give those episodes the care and attention, though. And I love the little callbacks that they've been doing, but I don't want them to feel committed to that.
Right.
As great as it was to see the ATSTs
return
for that one episode, like I don't need that and everything.
No.
Give us a chance to, if you're going to do references, sprinkle them a little.
Right. Yeah. Well, and it's just, there's a lot that they can do, but as long as it's not
Canto Bite.
Yeah. I want it to, even if it's just like character development wise, I want it to speak to the overall story that we're getting, instead of it
just being like, well, that character, that didn't have any effect on, because even the filler episodes showed us like the Mandalorian struggles with the child, where it's like he clearly doesn't have any natural like child rearing instincts. He's just like, kid, stay on the ship. Kid doesn't stay on the ship. Like, you can't just leave him there.
But I feel like at the same time, anyone who's been around children know that even if you tell them to do something and they're going to not listen to you anyways, it's just better to let them go and do what they were gonna do anyways, because sometimes it's just better. It's not worth the fight.
No.
And that was probably
battles.
Yes, and I loved that. That was one of those moments where he's just like. He's like, stay here, and then he gets, and the door is open, and he's just and he looks down, and it's just like, whatever. And he's like, fine.
No, I want to see their connection grow. I want to see the Mandalorian's development, whether he's going to embrace sort of taking care of this foundling.
Right.
And then what that means for him. Like,
especially in the case of the child, because he is just so
A, tiny and adorable, but B, he's also clearly very powerful.
Very powerful,
and
yeah.
So I'm almost wondering, like, how the foundling process works. Like, do you start teaching them your code, your creed, or is that something...
He was told by the blacksmith
to reunite,
that he needed to find where he belongs. So that leaves a lot open to, first of all, how is he going to do that?
Yeah.
Clearly, nobody knows what the child is.
Yeah, it's not a named species as far as we know. We've only ever seen 2 members of the species, and both of them were Jedi.
Yeah, and so this is only our 3rd character. We still don't have any information about their plan, their homeworld, any of those circumstances. We just have the child, which is why we call him Baby Yoda. For all the people who are out there screaming that he is not Yoda, we know this.
Yeah.
My brother did that to me, and I'm like, no, I know he's not Yoda. I know he's not Baby Yoda, but we don't have enough information to be able to say anything else.
Fellow members of the fandom, cool your jets. We get ya. We're all on the same page.
But for a lack of anything better to call him, we will call him Baby Yoda.
The child is not a very cute name.
It is
not.
Let
us have something cute.
Exactly, yes. That's one of those things that gets me is that, they're like, and I'm just over here like, I know he's not Baby Yoda, guys.
Yoda's dead. We get it.
We know this. He is not Yoda. He is not, at least as far as we know, because people are talking about cloning and all of that as fan theories.
We know it's not reincarnation because this Force ghost shows up later.
Right. I feel like
unless you can have a Force ghost out-of-body experience.
Well, wait. No, because the Force ghost does show up in The Last Jedi. So we know that he's still out there wandering. Yeah. But maybe Force ghost is not the same as...
Like a memory?
Yeah.
Like a reflection?
Yeah.
Oh, that's kind of dark.
I know, I'm just saying. Like, that opens up a whole bunch of possibilities.
I can't imagine life as a Force ghost is that exciting. Luke, is this a bad time? Okay. See you in another 8 years, I guess.
Right. But as long as, there's more development, we see more, and we get a little more hints as to where he comes from and where
did he go? Where did he come from, Cotton Joe? I'd like to see, I don't want them to use the second season jump straight into the Force. It's clear that the Force will play an element in this because
he's obviously a Force user.
Yeah, he's a Force user. He's definitely Force sensitive. We know that
definitely.
For sure. But I don't want them to be season 2 Jedi training.
Right.
But I wouldn't mind seeing little teases of it and sort of getting back to that whole Han Solo ancient hokey religion that nobody considering it took less than a generation from it to go to a part of society that people look at and go, oh, a Jedi, to a Jedi? What's that? All in the space of a single lifetime.
Then again, look how much Kenobi aged.
True.
In 18 years.
Tatooine does not do your skin any favors.
It doesn't, but I still feel like that was a lot of aging.
Definitely a lot of aging.
But it's just, I feel like, maybe not so much. He's definitely a lot of Mando trying to deal with, because I see Baby Yoda getting into a lot of trouble using the Force for things that he wants, but that Mando is telling him no on. And that would make some fun. But, Yoda, little Baby Yoda using the Force to get that food item that he was told he can't have, essentially the candy of.
I see, in my brain, because I've done this with a couple different shows, I'm like, what really dumb, silly way do I want to see this show end? And I'm like, okay, I want the show to end with teenage Baby Yoda, teenage Yoda, emo teen Yoda.
Oh gosh.
Force-sensitive Mandalorian armor-clad teenage Yoda. And just to see what a hot mess that would look like. I know the show won't end there, just like The Walking Dead didn't end with One-Eyed Carl taking over as leader. But But oh my god, would that not be amazing?
As long as he's still like,
you're not my dad.
As long as
Ford shuts the door.
As long as he's still wearing like he only has the helmet and then he's got like his robe.
I was thinking the opposite. He's wearing the Mandalorian armor, but he can't get the helmet on because of his ears.
They have little cutouts on the side for his ears to poke out of.
Helmet on, and then a second later, boom.
With just the helmet and his robes, just them at home, and he's, going through that whole thing. You're not my real dad.
You will let me go to the mall with Stephanie. I'm not weak-minded.
I will not. Anyways.
But anyway, those are our thoughts on space westerns, and definitely a lot of thoughts on The Mandalorian.
Definitely.
Let us know what you think. Are you excited for The Mandalorian to come back in 2021? I'm pretty sure that's what I read, that it's coming back in.
Yes, that is what I read as well.
So long from now. What are your thoughts on space westerns?
It's a year.
But I want it now.
It doesn't matter what you want now.
Let us know your thoughts, and we'll be catching you guys next week.
Bye.
Hey everybody, this is Nate with Nonessential Media again. I know, this guy. Just welcoming you to We the Fandom year 2020. Really excited to see what this year brings for us. One of the things we really want to do is expand this podcast, get it in front of more people, and see if we can really foster a community. I'm really excited. If you are an active listener, I encourage you to be sharing it with your friends and anyone you know who's interested in just goofing off and talking about pop culture and the movies and books and games and the stuff that they love. I'm also really excited to announce our retcon, inspired by the new New Mutants trailer, the film that I was certain we would never actually get to see, finally getting another release date, and a good chance that we'll actually get to see it this time. We're going to be retconning at the end of the month X-Men Origins Wolverine, which I know there's a lot that's been said about this movie, and we just wanted to give it our 2 cents and see if we can, instead of dragging it through the mud, see if there's a way that we can make it better. If you haven't already, check out our website at nonessentialmedia.com. We've got other great podcasts that are available to you. Lifecast and Beach City Crows are the first two that come to mind. I know that we're looking to expand in this year. I've got another podcast that I've been cooking up that I'm really excited to be announcing, hopefully very soon. And yeah, we'll be seeing you guys next week with another episode. Have a good one.